Thank you, Leam, for giving me an opportunity to speak on a theme relating to growing attack on students and teachers at our public universities. As a teacher, whenever I hear the incidents of this kind, it shocks me, shatters me, and I feel and experience extreme pain and agony. In recent times, as we have heard, that the students at Jamia were being attacked by outside goons and bouncers, and as it is reported in social media and newspapers, an incident of this kind is absolutely terrifying, and it has really shattered me and shocked me. And we know the sequence of events. A group of students, they were not very happy with the way the university administration invited a delegate from Israel to attend a function at the university. They protested, and that led the university administration to issue show cause notices to 5 students, and eventually students came together, assembled, and they were agitating and urging the administration to withdraw the show cause notices. The administration remained adamant, refused to come to terms with the grievances and the demands of the students, and eventually, as it is reported, outside bouncers and the goons came to the campus, and in front of the silent security guard as spectators, as passive spectators, they brutally attacked students, and some female students too were being attacked and humiliated. It was absolutely terrifying and shocking. And when I begin to make sense of this brute attack on students and teachers at our public universities, there are 2 points that need special emphasis and attention. The first is the idea of a university, and which I believe ought to be asserted repeatedly, particularly in the kind of society we are living in today. And let me assert very boldly that a university is not a factory that has to produce efficient products for the market, nor is the university a military camp or a concentration camp that would produce absolute loyalists and conformists. Instead, the idea of a university is that it is a vibrant, living, alive public sphere filled with the spirit of communicative dialogue, interaction among students and teachers, and students and teachers as reflexive agents, as collective cooperators, and the creative agents in the process of the production and the disseminating of knowledge traditions. It is about culture of debate, it is about dialogue, it is about interaction, and the role of the administration would be minimalist. Its role is only to become an enabling catalyst so that the students and teachers can evolve, grow, and live with the debate on plurality of worldviews, epistemologies, political philosophies, debates, and traditions. Second, I believe, an idea of a high university and the higher learning, the studentship is deeply related to the spirit of critical pedagogy. And by critical pedagogy, I mean that surplus of the mind that enables a young learner or a teacher to question, to interrogate even the most dominant common sense of the age, the official truth, the given ideology of the state, nation, and the market, and to raise new questions, articulate creative voices and critical voices, and to become perpetually alert and active participants in the process of learning. This, I believe, is the essential spirit of studentship enriched by the criticality of reflexive pedagogy. The irony is that these 2 fundamental perspectives, these 2 fundamental ideals of the university life and studentship today are under attack. It is also important to realize that only a couple of public universities are left in the country where there is a tradition of the debate, of critical pedagogy and dissenting voices. Most of our private universities, for all practical purposes, have become sanitized places outside the domain of political debate, and where students are being primarily engaged with the career anxiety and the salary placement and the salary package that become the primary concern. As a result, no serious debate, no critical issue is being raised from these institutions. Only a couple of institutions are left where students are articulate, creative, vocal, and raise a lot of critical issues. The irony is that these institutions are being attacked. From Jadavpur to Hyderabad Central University, from Jamia to Aligarh to JNU, we see the recurrence of a pattern. And that worries me, and that causes intense anxiety. Why is it happening? And I feel there are primarily two reasons which are responsible for it. First is that don't forget that we are passing through a time characterized by certain kind of totalitarian politics with its own dogma of nation, nationalism, religion, and it is engaged in a reckless process of standardization. As a result, it is inherently skeptical towards the culture of debate, towards the plurality of voices. Its insecurity and its aggression would often manifest itself in an act of censorship. It would try to censor all sorts of critical voices and the dissenting languages. And it has been further assisted and promoted by the new techno managers who have become the new administrators at many of our public universities. And these administrators, techno managers as vice chancellors, rectors, registrars, are often politically appointed and absolutely intellectually, morally, ethically impoverished, devoid of the symbolic and cultural and intellectual capital to engage meaningfully, pedagogically, creatively and critically with students, researchers and teachers. The only language that these techno managers and the politically appointed vice chancellor understand is the language of violence, the language of show cause notices, charge sheets, the fines through which they seek to discipline and control students and teachers. And this is something absolutely terrifying that negates the idea of public debate and the university. And if the university dies, if the culture of debate dies, if the studentship and the critical voices of the students are ruthlessly annihilated and destroyed, then the entire democracy, I would argue, is in danger. And this is what worries me. But having said all that, one point I wish to add again, my intention is not to romanticize ourselves, romanticize students and teachers. As an alert observer and with self-reflexivity, I have no hesitation in admitting that there could be many problems with us, students and teachers. Particularly among the students, there could be toxic identity politics, there could be internal divisions, there could be an attempt to escape from creative freedom and engage to responsibility, there could be lumpenization of politics, and as teachers also we to have many problems relating to opportunism, utter careerism. But I believe that the solution to these problems is not the way the techno managers as authoritarian bureaucrats and administrators, the way they are dealing with students and teachers with repressive and violent measures. If there is any solution, that is to restore the idea of a public university through a culture of nuanced debate and dialogue, where we need great pedagogues, great teachers, and the critical philosophers engaged in an act of conversation with young minds, students, and teachers. It is certainly not the sign of a good society if you enter the university campus and you see the presence of security guards, police, the cops, CCTV cameras, and the isolated lonely castle from where the administrators, rectors, registrars, and vice chancellors issue show cause notices, charge sheets, and circulars. It indeed is a bad time in our academic life.